Hi, new Ultreon 1 software OCT with artificial intelligence has been introduced in Europecia 2021. And it's an amazing software. So previous part, I have demonstrated a recorded version of the case from Europecia. Now post-tenting, I'm sure the OCT will be again amazing demonstrations of artificial intelligence. So let's go to the case.
Mode. This will help Emanuele understand exactly where he has to place the distal marker of the stent. Now the stent is there, Emanuele. So you see now that you have your live image in the Ultron machine, and you have next to it the OCT with the white bar indicating the normal landing zone. So what you have to do is match this marker of your stent with the normal landing zone assessed by OCT.
Okay. So Carlos, the first stent is in. This 348 millimeters, what is OCT telling us with the proximal stent?
So OCT, first of all, I'm pretty happy, Manuela, that you landed exactly where the co-registration helped us to know where was the landing zone. And that also allows me to understand what is the length that you need to cover the proximal part of the vessel. So based on the OCT, you see there on the screen that we have now measured from where you have landed until the very proximal part of the LAD, and it's about 22, probably a little bit more because we don't have the complete proximal part. So we're selecting 28, 30 millimeter stent, 3.5 for the proximal part of the LAD.
Excellent.
So initially, what the case was, there was a long LED lesions in the mid LED. There was tight stenosis. CT FFR was very, very significant. The distal LED FFR was very significant on CT scan. Proximal CT FFR was normal. Initial OCT was difficult. So they have used a guideliner to push the OCT catheter in. Then they did rotablations. On the rotablations, then balloon dilatations. Once they did rotablations on OCT, they could see a proximal dissection by the guideliner of the LAD. Then they have estimated the IFR, FFR, PPG index, etc. And there was a focal co-registrations IFR number, which was very significant. They have used the Ultreon 1 software, and that demonstrated calcification beautifully. And they have modified the calcium with rota and balloon. They have implanted a stent. Now we are looking for MAX. We had MLDs, now we're looking for MAX. And let's go back to the case.
Shall we?
You can start. Okay. We have three questions. The first question is, how are our edges, proximal and distal edge? How is the expansion and what is the MSA? And if we didn't have any gross malapposition. So this is our MAX algorithm. So I'm going to do the co-registration again to understand exactly if we need to do something else, we need to go. This is at variance with the previous software. First, the proximal and then the distal. This is the new Ultron feature. So my first assessment is going to be in the distal edge, where I'm going to look to see the transition. And in this case, we see a very nice transition without dissections in the distal part of the vessel. Then we are moving forward inside the stent, and I have used the dual reference technique for the expansion. And you see here how the new Ultron calculates automatically the stent expansion, at least in the distal part, the distal half of this half of the pullback. So it's a bit complicated because of the two pullbacks, but I just want to bring your attention that in the distal part of the stent looks pretty well expanded. The system is telling me that this segment is 87. We have, again, following the MAX algorithm, the apposition looks pretty nice. I don't see any stent malapposition here. And we do have, in this very tough segment that we treated with the calcified plaque protruding to the lumen, there's still some asymmetric stent expansion. And we will see that in the next pullback. Go for it. Okay, so this is the post-PCI pullback. I see a couple of stents still with an important malposition, certainly more than 300 microns. Just at the start of the stent, here is a little bit worse, probably 500 microns here. So there are, at the edge of the stent, Emanuele, 5-6 struts that are not well opposed.
Is there any proximal dissection, Carlos, proximal to the stent?
No, there is no dissection. We managed to land exactly where we wanted, held by the co-registration. There is no dissection. You see that the transition is nice. Expansion is also good. However, there are a few struts that are not well opposed in the proximal part.
So a short post-dilatation there, and then we do final pressure gradient assessment, and we're done.
Perfect. And I think we should go with a 4 semi-compliant balloon because we don't want to post-dilate. We should want to oppose now.
Okay.
Okay? Okay, so we are now ready to assess the physiology of this vessel after PCI. And Emanuele just crossed again the stent with a pressure wire X. So we're going to induce hyperemia with papaverine. So that Giuseppe is putting the papaverine. And this is the easiest way to induce hyperemia in the cath lab. Then we're going to wait 10 seconds. And 10 seconds, Emanuele is going to start the pullback simultaneously with the Coroventis machine. So Emanuele is steadily pulling back the wire. You see here that there was a small step in the distal part of the vessel. Now we are inside the stent. This was the region that was with the calcified plaque.
So, okay, Carlos. I think we are done here. We'll have time to discuss the case with you in the studio. So back to you, Jolt. We'll see you there.
Understand exactly what type of pathology we had. We were really aggressive to treat this calcium. It was a concentric ring of calcium. And without having done a good preparation of the vessel, we will not be able to achieve the functional vascularization that we had, and neither the expansion that we achieved. So this is a very important step in the whole PCI process, to understand the type of disease and do your best to achieve a big extent